Hello and welcome. Today we're looking at day 2. We're trying to do the second part of building your own space station. Looking at here, this is number 2, building the housing module. That's what we're trying to do. So I'm going to go in there and take a look and see what it takes to build one of these things. Now I've kind of got here's what I built from yesterday. It's over here. And now I'm trying to build this part, but I'm just going to wipe the board clean here, and we're going to do that one next. So I'm going to redo this one and go back to the beginning, and we'll see what it takes to actually build something that looks like this. Now this is the housing module. This is where the astronauts are going to sleep and do, just kind of their living space. Maybe not their research areas, but their living areas. So we got the rocket out of the way, and the next step then is to build the living quarters. Now we can use the tube shape. That looked like a good way to do it. So instead of having to hollow out a cylinder, they actually have this tube shape. I wish we would have used that in the last one. Would have made it a little bit simpler. But here we go. I've got it moved out here, and then the dimensions they want it to be 80 millimeters in diameter and 18 millimeters tall. So let's do the diameter first. I'll hold down my shift key while I'm dragging, and we want 80, so it's really big. And then we also want it to be a certain height, so that's this one. We want to drop it down to 18. So now we have this kind of ring-shaped object. Next, we're going to put a cone shape on top of that. So we're going to use the, let's find the cone shape over here. I like how you start with basic shapes and then you can turn it into anything you like. Here is this also really big because it's got to fit on top. So I'm going to move it so I can actually make it relatively large. It's 80, so that would be here. And then the height, again, we're going to change to 25. I'm squishing it down to 25. It's a shallow roof, I guess. And then we use the black arrow up here on the top to raise it up 18 millimeters, because that's how tall this is. And we're going to do that. So we're grabbing that and lifting it 18 millimeters. Oh, so hard. There. They're not really lined up, though. So we want to align them. So we'll use the alignment tool. Now we used this a lot last time, but we'll use it more here. This is the alignment tool. We want them to be aligned up next to each other, and then we can line them up so they're in the middle. So that's this button here. So that's what it'll look like when we're done. Let's see if it looks right. Looks like we have the shape we want. So moving on then. We add another cone, and it's the same size, but we want to flip it over. Now what they're saying over here in the instructions is to do the same thing over again, but we already have one sitting right here, so I'm going to kind of duplicate this one, and then we'll just flip it over. That way we don't have to resize it. So I say duplicate, and then I'll drag it away. And then I'll use see that arrows thing, and I'll flip it over. Now there's a couple ways of doing this. We want to put this on the bottom of this thing. Be good to drop it down. Maybe that's why they had you make it on the work plane. But what you can do is just hit the letter D, and that'll move it down till it touches the work plane. So I hit the letter D to do that. And then we know that's, what's our size? 25? So we can lower it 25, and that will put it into the floor. There's flush with the floor. And then all we have to do is align these two, these elements. So first we'll get them to line up along one of the axes, maybe here. And then we'll line them up here. See if this will work. And I think that's the shape they want us to have, is right there. Kind of looks like a top, looking at that. Get out of alignment mode by just clicking somewhere. And then we're not grouping them yet. That's kind of interesting. I was thinking by now we'd actually group them, but no. So cut a hole through the housing unit. So we're going to use the shape to cut a hole. So we place the cylinder on the work plane and size it to 40 millimeters in diameter and 100 millimeters tall. So it's tall. Taller than it is wide. So grab that. And then we say, zoom out a bit. Just gives me a little bit more work area. So we're gonna do 40. Was it 40? Yeah, 40. And then the height of it is 100. Right now we're at 40, so that's really tall. I guess the tallness doesn't matter, but 100 seems like overkill. It's huge. Is it supposed to be 100? That's what it says. That's 100. That's a lot bigger than that. Well, let's just do what they say, see what happens. So we change the cylinder into a hole, so it's going to be kind of like a cutout, like a cookie cutter. And then we group the shapes together. Use the black arrow on top, yeah, we did that, to lower so that it drops lower than the bottom of the lowest cone. So we're lowering this thing. So moving it down. See if that's low enough. That looks like it does the trick. Okay, and I think now we can just align it. So I select all the objects and we'll do the alignment tool. First get them kind of in the same spot and then here. Now they're lined up vertically. Oh, looks good. And then to cut the hole and everything, what you do is you just group everything. That's probably why they had us wait to group things until we had everything, including the hole, grouped together. So I'm going to do the grouping now. I say group. Oh, that looks nice. And that's our housing module. Looking inside of it, it's kind of hollow in there, a little bit. So maybe there is a living space in there. I always worry about the interior as well as the exterior. Okay, so moving on. Next, what are we doing? We're going to create a box on the work plane. It's sized as an 800 or 80 millimeter square. So here's our box. And again, I'm just holding the shift key, and this is square, so wow. Will this even fit? 80. Let me scoot this over. Is that 80? Yeah, it's 80. Change the box into a hole. Okay, the box is now a hole. And then align the housing unit and the box and align them vertically. Okay, so let's do that. I'm trying not to select the spaceship over there, or the rocket engine. Maybe I just select them individually. I'm holding down the shift key as I'm doing my selection. See how it's including this over here? I don't think it is including that. I think the blue highlights around this and that, but not around the rocket. So I think that's okay. And then we use the alignment tool here to get them to line up. And then like this. I guess that's what they want. Use the black arrow on top of the housing module to lift the box upward 22 millimeters above the work plane. So not sure what they're getting at, but we'll do what they ask. So 22 millimeters, choosing just the box. There's 22. I think we're using to cut out. Oh, I see. We're cutting off part of the top. Duplicate the box. So the box is currently selected. Just make sure it's just the box. We duplicate it, and then press the D key to get it flush with the build surface. You see we have two boxes, and then we lower that. So we want to lower it 84 millimeters. This is the second box. Trying to find the handle we need. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. We're lowering it 84, so below the floor. Oh, interesting looking. Select all the shapes and group them, and that will trim the housing module. Okay, so we're using the boxes basically it's a flat surface to just chop things off. We group it, and now we have that look. Oh, that's nice. Looks like a tire. All right, so moving on to the next thing. Finish the housing ring. To finish the portion of a lesson, there's a couple minor items to clean up. We need to select the color of the housing module, and we need to place it on the work plane. Yeah, so we're gonna move it up onto the work plane. So select the ring and change its color to something you like. I want to go fashion colors, I guess. So I'll do the pink again. It's pretty pink. Yikes. So mine's pink. I don't know why. And then press the letter D, and what that'll do is that'll get it so it's not below the work plane. Right now you see it's below the work plane. So we're going to hit D, and now it's flush with the work plane. Moved it up just a little bit. Go to the next step. Next up, we need to add the docking ports for the module, so that we could plug in all the different components that we need for our space station. So we're going to keep going here. Basically, we want to size the cylinder diameter of 10 millimeters and 15 millimeters tall. So we'll do that. Here it is. First, we'll do the diameter, holding down the shift key, and then just clicking and dragging here. Height is going to be 15. So there's 15. That's what it looks like. This is interesting. It says set the housing module to be a hole temporarily. So I'm doing that. And select the ring and the cylinder and align them vertically, and then center it on the ring and align it to the minimum possible direction of the work plane. Okay, so that doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's see what they're trying to say. Set the ring and the cylinder and line them vertically. Line them vertically. Then center it with the ring and align it to the minimum in the opposite direction of the work plane. Well, that doesn't make sense. So let's first we'll rotate this, because I'm trying to look at the picture up here. That's what we're trying to get to. So grabbing the rotation handle, it's here. We'll rotate it 90 degrees. Get it just right. 90. I think that's our goal right there, so we're trying to get it to look like that. Let's see if it's got more information there. Select the cylinder and rotate your view. So looking at the model from the side. 12 times. Okay, so first let's get these aligned. So I'm going to pick these two items. We're going to use the alignment tool, line those up, and then we also want to center them. So now it's ready to get moved over. So we go out of alignment mode just by clicking anywhere. And then what we're going to do is move it 1 millimeter at a time. And they suggest 12. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. It kind of looks like the picture. Okay, so that's how we attach things to our ring. Next we have to duplicate it and move it to the other side. So let's do that. We duplicate it. And the question is, how do we get it to line up? Okay, so it says align them to the maximum. So we have to duplicate first. So we duplicate, and then we can move it. But again, we want to align it. So we want to line these up. Notice it's a little bit off. So I'll line these up like that, and then it says align it to the maximum. So that would be here. No. This thing. So I'm going to just eyeball it, I guess. We're trying to get it to extend a little bit. Trying to compare the two. That's pretty similar. Again, if I were really building the space station, I would actually be a lot more precise. But I'm just eyeballing it, and it looks pretty good so far. So we'll go with that. Select the second cylinder and press the right arrow key on the keyboard 12 times to move the cylinder out of the ring an equal amount. Yeah, so we did that. Select both cylinders and group them together in a single item. So we're doing the same thing like we did with the rocket, is we're choosing both. So I'm holding down my shift key and selecting the other one as well. And you can see it's not doing the housing unit, but just the things, just the docking ports. And then what we use is we group those together so they stay in a group, and then we can duplicate them and rotate them. So I'm duplicating them, and then I'm I'm rotating them. I guess that's here. And I think we want to do 45 degree angles, if I remember correctly. So 45. And then you can just say duplicate again, and it remembers the pattern. And now we have spokes to our hub, I guess. Right? Next we change it back from a hole pattern to just regular. So it's just an easy way to do transparency without having to go in here to do the transparency. So we're going to say solid pink again. I don't know why I chose pink. Oh, well, it looks nice, I suppose. Fuchsia. Looks like a fuchsia. And then we'll select all the shapes and then group them together into a single object. Now, when we do this, we're going to lose our color because it tends to want to set everything to the same color. Everything's pink. But then we can go in here and set it to multicolored, and then we get our colors back. So now if we were going to print this out on a 3D printer, there's a problem because we have these overhangs. It's really hard to print in thin air, so these things that overhang right there. So what you do is you add to your model these things called scaffolding, so it allows you to print with supports. Usually the scaffolding can be included when it's time to print by the printer itself or the printing software. And so you don't really have to worry about it. But be aware that without a little bit of support, when you print out these hub connections, they're going to slump down on you without any support, or just end up printing spaghetti into the air. So that won't work very well. So I think what they want to do is they want to print this out in half. So they're going to slice it right through the middle so that we don't have any overhang, and then just going to glue it together when we're done. So you always have to think about when you're designing, not only are you designing for the outside look, but you're also designing for manufacture. Can it be actually manufactured? And in this case, not really well without the supports. So we're gonna cut it in half horizontally. So with this box, grabbing the box, and then the size of the box, it just has to be wider than our thing. So we're gonna make it really wide. Make some space here. Here's the box. Just going to drag it out. The important dimension to get is the height. The shape of the box isn't that important, but that height value. Oops, not that one. That one. We want it to be 13 millimeters high because that's halfway up. We're going to turn it into a hole, and then we're going to align these two things using the alignment tool. Try it again. Two things. Okay, alignment. And now we have this gray box kind of all the way around it. Now here it says group all the shapes together, and so this even includes the gray box. Notice that our box isn't big enough though. Or is it? Yeah, it doesn't go all the way through. So we're going to make our box a little bit wider. Now I'm holding the Alt key down, and that it grows from the middle, so that's kind of what I'm doing here. Just want to make sure that the whole space station is inside that gray box. All right. Align the housing module and the box vertically. Yeah, we did that. Group all the shapes to create a single item. Select the result setting, press D. So if we group it, it's going to chop off the bottom part of it, I guess. I think that's what they want us to do. See what the picture says. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to group everything. Group this one. Now we have half a hub, I guess. And then they suggest hitting the letter D. Okay. So again, I'm not quite sure what their point is here, but evidently probably what's going to happen is we're going to duplicate it again and flip it around and glue it together after we get done printing it. But change the box to a hole, align the housing module and the box vertically, group all the shapes to create a single item, select the resulting shape, and press the letter D. That's what they said, so that's what we're going to leave it. That's what we have so far. And so we'll pick up from there next time.